Okay, we want to determine whether lines P and Q are parallel based on the given information, and then we want to justify our answer. Okay, now all of this goes back to um, what we learned yesterday about our angle pairs. And if you remember, every time, what did we do? We traced over the angles. So in problem number one, I'm given that angle 1 and angle 5 are 110 degrees. Okay, so basically what this is saying is angle 1 congruent to angle 5? Um, Angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding angles because they make the letter F. Okay, so yes, the lines are parallel. That's what we're asking. And why? Corresponding angles are congruent. Okay. Um, Number two, angle 1 and angle 7. Angle 1 is 110 and angle 7 is 80. Excuse me. Okay. So here's angle 1 again. Okay. And here's angle 7. Now, these angles do not make a letter, so they are same side interior angles. Now they tell me that angle 5, I'm sorry, they tell me that angle 7 is 70, so if they're same side interior angles, I know that they have to be supplementary. Well, 110 plus 70 happens to equal 180. So yes, again, the lines are parallel. Why? Because same side interior angles are supplementary. Okay. All right. Angle 3 and angle 6. Angle 3 is 80. Angle 6 is 100. I'm sorry. And problem number 2, these are same side exterior angles. Same side exterior angles, but they are supplementary. Okay. But number 3, again, if we trace over the angle, here's angle 3, here's angle 6. Okay. They make the letter C, so these are same side interior angles, and they are supplementary because 100 plus 80 is 180. Sorry. Yes, the lines are parallel. Okay. Now number 4, it tells me that angle 4 is 70, and it tells me that angle 6 is 80. Okay. So here's angle 4, here's angle 6. They make the letter Z. That means they're alternate interior angles. And we know alternate interior angles are congruent. Well, it tells me that angle 4 is 70, and it tells me that angle 6 is 80. Well, 70 is not the same as 80, so this one's no. The lines are not parallel. Okay. All right. And problem number 5. If the measure of angle 4 is 20x plus 3 and the measure of angle 6 is 9x plus 3, find the value of x that proves the lines are parallel. Now, in reality, we can ignore this. Okay. What we can do is we can just assume that the lines are parallel. We have to do that to solve this problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is label the angle, 20x plus 3, and angle 6 is 9x plus 3. All right, I'm going to trace over the angles. There's angle 4, there's angle 6. So it makes the letter C, If it makes the letter C, they are same side interior angles, and we know that those are supplementary. They equal 180 degrees. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 20x plus 3 plus 9x plus 3 equals 180. And we're going to solve this equation for x, and then we're going to plug into angle 4. All right? Apples to apples. That's going to be 29x. Okay? Pairs to pairs. 3 plus 3 is 6. Equals 180. Now it's just a simple two-step equation. I'm going to subtract 6. So 29x equals 174. And I'm going to divide both sides by 29. Okay. And then 174 divided by 29 is going to be 6. Okay, so x is equal to 6. Now, if I want to find angle 4, all I have to do is plug in. Angle 4 is equal to 20x plus 3. So I'm going to do 20 times 6 plus 3. I'm going to get 123. So angle 4 is 123 degrees. Okay. Again, we can ignore this part. We're going to assume that the lines are parallel. They have to be in order for us to do this problem. All right, so angle 1 is 7x minus 3, and angle 5 is 8x minus 19. All right, here's angle 1, here's angle 5. Okay, the first thing I recognize is they don't make a letter. Okay, the next thing I recognize is they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So these have to be alternate exterior angles, which we know are congruent. Now, you've heard me say this 1,000 times before in geometry. Two things are congruent. I'm going to set them equal to each other. All right, so 7x minus 3 equals 8x minus 19. So I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides. I'm going to get my x's on the same side first. So I get negative 3 equals x minus 19. Then I'm going to add 19 to both sides, and so I get 16 is equal to x. Okay, if I want to find angle 5, I'm just going to plug in. So I'm going to do 8 times 16 minus 19. And I'm going to get 109 degrees. Okay. All right, find the values of x, y, and z. Now, the first thing I want you to notice is this. We've talked about this before, but I want to remind you of this. These arrows, that has 2 arrows, that line has 2 arrows. So what that means is this. That means that this line or line segment is parallel to that line segment. Okay. This has 1 arrow. This has 1 arrow. So that means that this line segment is parallel to this line segment. Okay. So what we should be realizing here is this, this is a transversal. Okay. Now, if I want to find y, it's pretty easy. Okay. If I want to find y, it's pretty easy. So what I'm going to do is, here's angle y, or here's the angle that's 2y, here's the angle that's 18. Now what I made is I made a backward z, so those are alternate interior angles, and so 2y is equal to 18. Therefore, if I divide both sides by 9, or by 2, I'm going to get that y equals 9. Now this is a pretty tough problem. If this angle is 18, that also means that this angle is 18 as well. Oh, sorry. We're going to take a different route here. Well, actually, we do need to know that. All right. So this is also going to be 18. Okay. Now, if I trace over this angle, by the way, this angle is 3x plus 18 by the angle addition postulate. Then I can trace over this angle, okay? And what I just did is I made the letter C, and if I make the letter C, I know the angles are same side interior angles, and so I know they have to add up to 180. So 3x plus 18 plus 63 is equal to 180. All right? Apples to apples, there's nothing to pair with 3x. Pairs to pairs, okay, 63 plus 18 is going to be 81. So I'm going to get 3x plus 81 equals 180. Now it's just a two-step equation. Subtract 81 from both sides. I get 3x equals 99. Divide by 3, and x is equal to 33. Okay. Now I'm going to erase some of this because we're getting too much junk here. Okay. If I look at this angle, which keep in mind this angle is 18. Okay. So if I look at that angle, again, the angle addition postulate tells me that this is 11z plus 18. And then if I trace over this angle, that angle is 63. Well, what I did was I made a kind of upside down C. So I know that those angles are also same side interior. And so I know that they have to be supplementary. So I know that 11z plus 18 plus 63 is equal to 180. Okay. There's nothing to pair with the 83, but I can pair these two together. All right, so 63 plus 18 we already know is 81. We're going to subtract 81 from both sides. 11z equals 99. Divide both sides by 11. Z equals 9. Okay. Now we kind of used a little bit of everything there. And this picture was a little bit different than what you're used to looking at. What you're used to looking at so far is something that looks like this, okay? Well, that is relatively the same thing. If I take this and I turn it this away, well, what I can do is I can turn this into a parallelogram. Okay, so it's basically the same picture, it just looks different to you. All right, number 8, the measure of angle 3 is 8x plus 3. The measure of angle 4 is 20y minus 3. And the measure of angle 7 is 11x minus 12. Find the values of x and y. Well, I have a little bit of a problem here. Here's angle 3, and here's angle 4. Now, obviously, they make a T, and so that means they're a linear pair. But the problem is, and that means they're going to add up to 180. When I add these together, okay, there's nothing to pair with the 8x, and there's nothing to pair with y. Now, it just so happens that the 3's cancel each other out, and so I can rewrite this equation so it looks like this. 8x plus 20y is equal to 180. Now, the problem is I can't solve that equation. I can only solve an equation that looks like this, maybe. 8x plus 20 equals 180. Notice that there's only one variable. I can solve that equation, but I can't solve this one. So I need to look for another relationship. Well, you should probably already be recognizing that that has an x, and this also has an x. So let's trace over those two angles and see what we get. So if I trace over angle 3, and if I trace over angle 7, well, I notice that I make a z. And if the angle pair makes a z, then I know that it's alternate interior, and I know that alternate interior angles are congruent, and if they're congruent, I'm going to set them equal to each other. 8x plus 3 equals 11x minus 12. Okay, I want to get my variables on the same side first. Subtract 11x from both sides. 11x's cancel. Negative 3x plus 3 equals a negative 12. Subtract 3 from both sides. 3's cancel. Negative 3x equals negative 15. Divide by negative 3. Negative divided by negative is positive. And so x equals 5. Okay. Now, if I want to find y, well, remember, what do we know? We know that x is equal to 5. So I can replace x with 5 in this equation and solve it for y. So 40 plus 20y equals 180. Subtract 40 from both sides. 20y equals 140, and divide both sides by 20, and so y equals 7. Okay. All right. You have the rest of the period to work on your assignment. You can use your foldable that we made, your little flip book. Matter of fact, I would recommend that you use it. What you are still learning is you're learning the relationships that exist between the angle pairs and whether they're congruent or supplementary. So you're learning how to identify the angle pairs. You do that by tracing over the angle and seeing which letter it makes, or if it makes a letter. And then you, from there, you have to know whether or not the angles are congruent or supplementary. All right. I will see you guys back on Wednesday.